If you are new to Catherine's Garden, well, welcome. I'm so glad that you took the time to come and listen and share this time with me. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying your Christmas holidays and your other holidays. Happy holiday, yes. Getting ready for 2021. So make sure that you subscribe to Catherine's Garden and also hit the notification bell so you'll know when new and fresh videos are coming up. Hello, and welcome to Catherine's Garden. My name is Catherine, and it's so good to be here with you today. Well, during this festive time of Christmas and the Christmas season, and now heading into January, which is coming so fast and furious, it's time to think about the garden and to start planning what one wants to do with their garden for the next growing season, 2021. Well, I have been thinking about it. I've been gathering my different catalogs and putting them together. I've started even to purchase some seeds to start thinking about that, and also looking around at different articles and gardening tips, and just trying to figure out what do I want to do differently for 2021 in my garden. And then recently I just did a lookbook of looking at the garden, going through it, and just admiring and appreciating the different flowers and plantings and the different season. And really just kind of taking my time to think about each month of the growing season last year and what really stood out. So I want to kind of go back now and look at the seasons and the succession of bloom in my garden. So starting from January to about mid-May, what is growing? What is happening in the garden at that time? And then I want to look at from mid-May to about July, early August. What's happening then? And then finally into the fall, August into September, October, and finally in November. We know that that's the time for cleanup and putting the garden to bed in December, because of course the snow's coming, and right here in the Northeast we have snow. For spring, in my garden I have the crocus that comes up. That's the first real planting that comes up first in the garden, are the crocus. And then after the crocus, the daffodils show up, and they are so beautiful. planting tulips. Tulips also extend the spring and bring so much joy. And it's good to get early um, flowering tulips, mid and late. And then the late flowering tulips will also merge in with the peonies and the lilacs and alliums. And so let's take a look at that, how it worked out last year. And I'm so much anticipating what will happen for this year in the garden. In early June, we start to see the roses coming forth, and I love my knockout roses. I really want to add more knockout roses to the garden, but then there are other flowering shrubs that will also enhance the garden at that time. We have rhododendrons coming up and opening, and they have such a beautiful bloom. And I think that that would be a good thing to add more rhododendrons to the garden. have a shade garden. I would say predominantly a good portion of my garden is under trees, and it creates a lot of shade, even though there are sunny patches and sunny areas. But those areas I am assigning to the vegetable gardens. I love this arrangement here. Here you can see the lilies that I planted from Costco. They're coming up. And of course, this is so beautiful. The alliums and the hoster and the goat's beard, along with the lady fern that I got from my mom's yard. And then here is the bee balm that will be coming up and taking its place soon. But we're following the alliums. And we can see that the maple trees here are getting larger. The little seedlings are now becoming full-fledged trees. I like having them there because they act like a buffer and give me a little bit more privacy from the neighbors' yards. And here, and then this is another astilbe. I love the color, and I like how it matches or works well with the green. And we may end up doing a little more tree trimming and cutting down of some of those saplings that are on the fence area, so that we can bring in more light. And so with that, we also want to look at the shady areas of the garden versus the sunny areas, those areas that receive all of the sun, and then those areas that have morning sun versus those areas that have afternoon sun, and also those that have a combination of both, dappled shade or dappled sun. And all of that, you really have to consider the lighting in your garden when you are purchasing plants, because then those that receive more of the sun, they're going to need a lot of watering. So it's important to consider that. Come the goat's beard, and that is just so beautiful, as well as the spring shrubs, the shrubs and trees like my pear tree, a flowering pear tree, and the peach tree and the apple tree. They also give a lot of color in spring. The flowering trees and shrubs are a great part of the garden in the springtime. But then when it's summertime, it's so wonderful to see the fruit developing on the trees, and with the anticipation of them bringing forth a lot of wonderful fruit, being able to harvest the fruit later on in the fall. from early summer, we then go into midsummer where the daylilies show up. And I really do want to add more daylilies to the garden. Daylilies are fantastic. First, I start off with my Stella d'Oro daylilies. They just bloom and just fill that whole front area. And the thing about daylilies, they're a wonderful perennial that you can divide and spread around the garden. This year, 2020, was the year of the hydrangeas. This year, my hydrangeas filled the garden. Starting off with the Nico Blue endless summer hydrangeas that were in the center, and then in the back border. Oh, just beautiful. The blue blooms. At first, I thought that they were going to be destroyed, that I wasn't going to get any flowers because we had an early winter storm in March, and I thought it would have killed the buds, but it did not. And so we ended up having those flowers starting to bloom as early as June into July and August and throughout the rest of the season. Just so beautiful. Even right now, you can see the flower heads on the shrubs, on the hydrangea shrubs. And so I have a lot of mop head hydrangeas. I really do love them. But then I also have the lace cap hydrangea, and they have not bloomed in the past, but this year they bloomed, and it was so beautiful to see the lace cap hydrangeas. I love planting by seed, direct sowing zinnias, and my intention is to continue to do that this year coming up. The zinnias are very easy to spread, and to get that cottage garden feel, it's good to have the flowers, the free-flowing flow of the flowers through seeding them in the garden and seeding different patches of flowers. That with cosmos and the zinnias and sunflowers, as well as marigolds. Now that time would be a good time to add those annuals, because the annuals give continual flower throughout the season. And you know, they just keep, as long as you water them and you fertilize them, those annuals are going to come forth. And so I love to buy the begonias, petunias, and also marigolds, even though I seed marigolds as well. So there are those perennials, like, as I said, the daylilies, and then the cornflower, or echinacea cornflower, and the bee balm. Bee balm is so beautiful, and bee balm seems to be so easy to grow in my yard. It's part of the mint family, and it seems to spread, but the flower is so beautiful that I don't mind having it all over the garden. So I think I'm going to be adding that. Then, of course, one of the major parts of planting are planting out our vegetable gardens and vegetable patches. Well, this year I was so happy with the tomatoes. The tomatoes came out so good in the different areas, as well as the cucumbers. I got a lot of cucumbers, and some of the leafy vegetables too did very well, like the kale. Kale did fantastic. So I do want to continue to add that to my garden round. And then in the summer, you want to have bedding plants. And I think about the impatiens that are good for the shady area, and the begonias, which are good for the sunshade area of the garden. Because in late August, I think that they show up really well, and they add that color when things seem to be a little few and far between with the perennials. And that's the power of the annuals. So my plums did fantastic. Oh, I enjoyed my plum tree, and hopefully the other plum tree will also flower and bring me the gift of plums. This year, one of the fruit trees that was really a surprise, and a really something that I really enjoyed, is the fig tree. My fig tree produced this year. My fig tree produced this year. It was so good to be able to eat the figs from the fig tree. That was such a blessing. Here is my very first fig on my fig tree, the purple fig. Benhurst fig, and it is ripe. I touched it and it feels very much like it is ready to be harvested. So I promised you all that I would harvest it now, and it said not to leave it too long. And touching it here, you could feel the softness. So I'm going to just kind of twist it off. Oh, it came off really easy. And I'm going to share it with you all. I'm going to eat it. Isn't it beautiful? Thank you for being a part of Catherine's Garden. I truly appreciate you, and I hope that we will have a wonderful, wonderful growing season for 2021. But it does require planning. I'm hoping to produce even more videos giving us some ideas and sharing my gardening tips and my garden experience with you so that it can enrich your garden experience, but also bring me great joy in sharing what I do know with you. And I am just anticipating a lot of good things happening for 2021. In the next couple of weeks, I will be sharing with you some new and fresh gardening videos on getting ready for 2021. So make sure that you subscribe to Catherine's Garden and also hit the notification bell so you'll know when new and fresh videos are coming up. And if you are new to Catherine's Garden, well, welcome. I'm so glad that you took the time to come and listen and share this time with me. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying your Christmas holidays and your other holidays. Happy holiday, yes. And let joy rise in your heart. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And see you next time right here in Catherine's Garden. Bye. For more videos, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time right here in Catherine's Garden. Bye.